I'll get a clip or two out.
Oh my god, that's so stupid and hilarious. But I have these headphones.
Should we get a couple pictures? This is Patrick J. Martinez. I'm just another geek from East LA. We are tuned into Studio B. That right there was Danie with No Looking Away, taken from the Bittersweet EP. We should be good and settled. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm good. How are
You're
you?
doing good? Go ahead. I feel,
Check.
okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and scoot over to microphone 2
Sure.
and let's see how we're doing there.
Okay.
Because this is going to get you going. Make sure you're good. Okay.
So,
There we go. Okay, so we will have to make a note of that for the maintenance folk and everything here.
uh-oh.
All right. So let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you this because East LA kid to East LA kid.
Okay.
You,
That I am.
you being an independent recording artist,
Yeah.
as you are a musician, how is it to like hearing yourself on the radio, hearing a song that you did on the radio? Are you still able to like accept that, absorb it, read it? Like, what's the reaction when you hear yourself on the air like that, no matter where you are?
It's still really cool. I know a lot of people don't listen to the radio that often anymore. It's all Spotify or streaming services, stuff like that. But I grew up in the 90s, so the radio was very much still prevalent.
Yes.
And I'm really happy that it still exists. So yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool. I still get giddy about it, and yeah, thank you so much for playing my music.
No,
also.
thank you for that. I mean, this is how I see it when I speak to everyone that's in your profession, everyone that's all your peers. One of the things I always share is you guys are like really giving me and all your listeners like free music. You know what I mean? And so really what you're doing is you're giving us this free entertainment because you put in so much time, you put in so much effort, and you put in so much money into this, right? And so on my end, I'm a little lucky because I get to be like one step above just listener. I'm just like just right step above where, I could, I kind of was forced into people's lives to get to come across me at one point on the radio. But the one thing I do want to say about radio, I agree with you. 90s radio was like some of the best, and 90s radio had a lot of pirate and community radio that I didn't realize until now was kind of, I always thought it was commercial, but a lot of it ended up being independent and pirate radio. Now, one thing though, LA is still the second biggest consumer of radio next to New York, which I find to be good because that means there's still a high possibility for you to be played on the radio.
Yeah.
Because what's LA's biggest thing? Driving, right?
Yeah.
Traffic. Yeah. So you kind of surrendered, right?
Yeah.
So I still say keep pushing and keep thinking radio in your head. Keep thinking it.
Yeah.
Because you said 90s radio.
It.
So I say just keep thinking it because we're all playing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. It was a big part of my upbringing, the radio, for sure. Listening to Art LeBeau, all those adorable shout-outs, and I remember hearing his really, like, dry kisses on the mic. And all the shout-outs, Lonely shouting out to his kinda lovable
and
vibes.
So that right there, we can even had an impact. We can even tell, even on this Bittersweet album, that all that had an impact, especially what you put out on that old EP.
Thank you.
But what I want to kind of go back a little bit to some of your earlier influences. What I really want to know is at what age did you just start writing music or playing music? What age? What did you capture?
Honestly, I was really late. Low key. I was a really late bloomer. I primarily, first of all, I was in love with dance.
Ooh.
And I danced for about 12 years. And that was like my first passion that I really went for. I think it really stems from me being a really shy kid.
Mhm.
And so the thought of me singing in front of people or doing anything of that nature just was so far-fetched and in like a fantasy in my head. Yeah, and it actually, I would only sing when no one was home. So I knew I could sing at a really young age for sure, but I didn't have the courage to sing in front of anybody until I was like maybe 12 or something. And one of my siblings, I actually didn't know one of them was home one day, and so they heard me belting my little heart out, and yeah.
What song was it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. It was probably Christina Aguilera
Okay.
or something.
That's not a bad one to
Back
follow.
then. Maybe even some Selena or something. I don't remember. It was the 90s, so something of that nature. And yeah, maybe even Mariah Carey or Michael Jackson, stuff like that. But I always remember thinking like, wow, and I'm jumping around a lot right now, but I always remember thinking like, wow, hearing these vocalists sustain these really long notes, and how the hell do they do that? And I want to do that too. And I would just practice and sing, but only when no one was home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, one day one of my siblings was home, and I didn't know that, and I got really embarrassed, and I felt like, I don't want to cuss on the show, but yeah, I just felt like really like vulnerable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that was your like your most comfortable and safest time.
Yeah, just most
to do
my
it.
most vulnerable.
Your most vulnerable, and somebody was right there and
Yeah.
saw it. Did they goof on you, or were they like supportive and shocked because they were like, oh, she's got that voice and we didn't know it? Or what was the
I think
siblings'
that
reaction?
genuinely was what it was. I think it was like, oh, whoa.
That they discovered something about you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
luckily that sibling in particular has always, for the most part, been able to see my shyness and kind of respect it a little bit more than the others. So I feel like they treaded lightly in kind of exploring that further, and they essentially, I guess, I could confidently say that they gave me the little push that I needed to start singing at toy drives and like East LA toy drives and things like that in the mid to late 90s. My mom was really involved in the community at the time, and she was putting together toy drives for East LA for all the families that couldn't afford to get their children Christmas gifts and things like that. She would also do it for Thanksgiving with turkeys and stuff, and so I didn't really understand the impact it had on me as a kid at the time. It was just kind of like, why are you doing so much, and like, why do I need to go to these things? And but eventually it ended up turning into, I also need entertainment for these things, and so she would put us up to do it. And so, not against my will, but I used those as opportunities to kind of push myself as well. So I technically started singing in front of people when I was maybe like 10 or something.
Wow.
But it would be like once a year,
Okay.
It'd be like in December, once a year, basically,
Like
when
the
the toy drive would come
Yeah,
around.
the good Christmas show. Like, that's a good time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was that, but I didn't really fully explore music and actually start writing music of my own until I was like 19.
Okay.
Yeah. So it took me a while to really be willing and open up in that way, because dance is one way.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't require any vocalizing at all, which is what I loved about it initially. It's like, oh, cool, I get to express myself artistically without having to use my voice. I was just so not ready.
But that's still 5 years of getting comfortable with performance
Totally.
and getting in
And
front of us.
musicality.
And musicality, yeah,
In
right?
front of an audience.
And so, dancing.
Yeah.
I think, what got you compelled into dancing? Because I still think dancing is a huge component that I know you use it in your videos, but I know dancing is still a huge component for current contemporary artists too. And I know you have your '90s upbringing, and so that's coming from a lot of is that dance, the attraction to dance coming from the old videos? Because remember the '90s were just bumping with like dancers.
Oh.
Remember we even had like dancers that we knew
Yeah.
were superstars in the videos that they were in.
Yeah.
Was it the videos at the time? Was that what got you dancing, or was it someone in the family that encouraged and got you moving that way?
That's a good question. Yeah, no, I honestly, I really do think it was just the music videos. The music videos were so epic.
Yeah.
They were so dance driven.
Yeah.
And yeah, the initial goal career wise was to pursue dance and get picked up to be on tour with an artist. So be a backup dancer for a big artist. That was probably my like biggest goal at the time. That's what I wanted to do. I thought that would be amazing and so much fun. And then when that died down, just like start teaching or
Yeah, because it was
go to a
probable.
conservatory or
Yeah, it
something.
was probable at the time to get into dance.
Yeah.
Everybody, really quick. This is KQBH LP, Los Angeles, California, 101.5 FM. This is a community service of Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory. We are broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming at KQBHLA.com. Guys, anytime that you are in the East LA, Boyle Heights, San Gabriel Valley area, I definitely invite you to put us on that radio dial at 101.5 FM. If you're in Watts, if you're in San Marino, if you're in San Gabriel, if you're in El Sereno, you guys can pick us up on your radio dial. But you know what? We are worldwide. So you know what? If you're listening to us over in the UK, I know you guys are streaming us at KQBHLA.com. And I'm just another geek from East LA. You guys are tuned into Studio B. We are broadcasting live off of Brooklyn Avenue in the beautiful city of Boyle Heights, California. And I am sitting with a local independent musician, recording artist. As much as she is independent, she is definitely got that commercial appeal. And I know that's been proven within some time during your journey here. And I am sitting here with independent recording artist Danie. And we were talking about your background as a youth and dance, and because I've sat here with other musicians, and dance is something that a few want to make sure either wants it to come back, and one said we don't want to forget the element of dance, and like you said, use the musicality and the physicality to be part of the performance piece. And so you were saying that was kind of your goal, right? And then we can always go into to teaching and all that stuff, right? So now we're learning how to work the stage, we're learning how to feed off the audience, learning how to perform. Songwriting now. Let's go into the songwriting aspect of everything, because this is really where we're on our journey. Take us out, please.
Yeah. So basically, when I decided that I had an epiphany around 18, and I essentially was experiencing an injury during my finals while I was in college for dance, and so I went to my counselor and I basically was like, hey, I don't know if I should do my finals because I'm literally getting thrown in the air and getting tossed around and doing all this stuff, and I'm so down to do that, but I don't know if I should do that with, these injuries I'm experiencing. And they were super nonchalant about it, and essentially I felt like I was being treated like a number, and that was a massive turn off for me. It was just like, oh, it's fine, you'll just retake the classes next semester, and I was like, are you gonna pay for that? That's crazy. So yeah, I pretty much just kind of peaced out, and at the time, I was already entertaining the idea of singing in front of people. I was already singing co-lead in a band called Biggest Thieves. And it was kind of like a fusion of like indie when indie was still a thing, sonically, and a little bit of jazz influence and rock. So it was cool. It was a nice introduction to get me back on the stage, and I was singing back vocals, and then that kind of transmuted into co-lead, and then within that band I ended up writing my first song, and showed it to the guys, and they loved it. They were willing to do it, and we started performing it. They also had me covering Valerie by Amy Winehouse at the time, because that song was like massive at the time, and it still is, but it was just like gaining its popularity around that time. And yeah, I mean, to this day now, it's really hard for me to sing that song because I've sang it so many times. In the middle of sets, people would be like, "Sing Valerie," no. But yeah.
But that at least get the audience to hear everything else that you wrote, like.
It was
At least to capture them, at least to capture.
For sure.
Hear you say that, capture you, because yeah, you're right. At the time, if anyone was able to kill it on that one, you kind of were, you had to. It was inclusive. So if they knocked it out, then you had to sit and listen to. Not that you had to sit, but you get what I mean. Like they knocked it out with Valerie. That was enough to be like, okay, let me do this. Let me see.
Yeah, well,
let's get serious.
I will say that, in high school I would like dip into open mics during lunch and stuff like that, and there would be a reaction, and I was very much aware of the reaction that I would get from people. It was just me having the courage to really, really explore it further, and my heart was with dance for such a long time. But by the time I started, I graduated and the college stuff happened, and then I decided, not to pursue that anymore. It opened the door for me to write that first song, and then after that, the band ended up breaking up, and I still wanted to pursue music. I had the epiphany of like, wow, I think I'm ready to actually go for this and really explore this part of myself that I never had the courage to do before. And so, I just really got interested in what I would sound like if I started writing music of my own without feeling like I'm in a band. Let me write something that's fitting for them, or have them structure sonically, the song, with my lyrics, my lyric ideas or whatever. And so, I had a producer at the time that was the drummer in that band, and he helped me release my first EP under my initial first project that I ever went by, which was Welfare. And so I started off as Welfare, and that was essentially a play on words that meant well-being, basically.
Okay.
And that was basically the overall message of the name. And so, and just my intent with music in general. So I did release my first EP under Welfare, and it was called Gem in I. And it was, I believe, a 4-track EP. And then after that, I had another EP called Recreational, also under Welfare. And long story short, jumping forward, pandemic happened.
Oh.
And I really thought I was living my life to the fullest at that point by pursuing my dreams and so on and so forth. But that really did scare the shit out of me. And so...
right there, though, we also have to kind of remember a lot of people's stages were pulled from them. Like, everybody had the stage that just got pulled and left a big impact on that. So when that hit, how did you take that, like, as an artist? What does that do to you? What did that do to you? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it traumatized me so much. It was so traumatizing. I mean, we can laugh about it now, but it was terrifying. It was awful, honestly.
And you said you were doing pretty good too with the whole reaction to the Welfare project, right?
Yeah. Things were going good. Things were going really good. I at that point knew how to produce. I learned how to use a DAW, and really kind of took the control, the reins of my project without relying on a producer at that point, which I had been doing for years. And so I think I had been like 2 or 3 years into producing myself at that point. And so, that hit really hard. I had, the LA music scene is pretty small. It's a really small community, even though it's massive at the same time. It's such a small world, and yeah, all my homies were all just so devastated, and we just were taking it day by day. We had no idea, what to expect, what we were gonna do. So many tours got canceled. Like, the sky was literally falling, and everybody was out of work, and yeah, it was crazy, and I felt like I'm sure a lot of people did too. The rug pulled from under our feet, and so yeah, I just decided at a certain point to just deal with the uncertainty the only way that I know how, which is by writing music and my thoughts down. And so yeah, that's when Bittersweet came to be, and I decided to change my name at that point from Welfare to Danie. So that was my debut Danie EP moment, which was Bittersweet. Yeah.
So that was to definitely signify that this was a whole new era. And what were you playing? Because before you get to Welfare, because what were you playing genre wise before you started putting out this Bittersweet? Because to me, Bittersweet, like I said earlier, is a huge reflection of the Eastside sound. Like from beginning to end, it is, and I'm not kidding when I say that. When I say like you could put that along with your Midnighters, you could put it with your Blendels, with your Romancers, with your Tierra. You could put it all there, put it all in the playlist, and you can't. There is no way that you could argue that it's not a complete Eastside album, because it is. It's a fully like living Eastside album in what you would expect to come out of this area.
Yeah.
Well, what was beautiful, it has. No, you're welcome. And it's beautiful because it has your contemporary point of view on it, which still goes into the tradition of a great Eastside album. Now, with that being said, and that's because I want people to understand that whole Bittersweet album is a great album. You could do your laundry to it. Yeah, you could get your party going to it. You could just sit somewhere and pound your high life, hiding from the world somewhere in on a curb, and you're gonna be happy wherever you are listening to it. So what was Welfare putting out before we got into Danie Bittersweet?
Yeah, so Welfare was, I want to say, it was very Little Dragon inspired.
Okay.
I was obsessed with Little Dragon at the time. I had barely got into them at the time. It was very electronic, very funk, and a little bit of hip hop in there too.
What I love about hearing this part of your journey, and like I said, your contemporaries have their similar story to that. And what I do love, and these are the underlying messages that I always try to get out when I have these conversations, is the tenacity that you showed to not stop performing, even if you were, because I'm imagining the pandemic set you back to the little girl's approach, to little Danie, to her approach when she was dancing in the house when nobody's around. I imagine as you share this journey that I would imagine that's what you did this time around, is you had to go back, channel that young person again.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And figure out how you're going to do it now. So here you go, you just kept recording and kept at least making music. You didn't stop regardless, even though your stage was taken.
Right.
And that's why I love hearing these how your contemporaries and yourself made it through. That's why I love hearing these stories, because again, people who listen, I hope, have these conversations, listen to these conversations, and pursue their passion at the age that they are now. That's why I love hearing these certain parts of the stories here as we wind up. Now, Bittersweet. Here we are, Bittersweet. This is pretty much a project born out of that solitary confinement, out of that trauma, out of that exclusion, out of that displacement, all these feelings, out of it.
Yeah.
So Bittersweet. Talk to us about Bittersweet. I know this is a few years back, and I know we have Take Me Home Now, Danie, to even talk about, and we're gonna get there. But let's talk a little bit about Bittersweet for those who haven't gotten hip to this EP, please.
So Bittersweet, let's see, where do I begin? Honestly, this was a collaborative effort in the sense of, it was recorded at True Sound Recording Studio in Inglewood, and essentially that record was written pretty much in like 3 days.
Wow.
It was my birthday weekend of 2020, and we just kind of, it was myself, the engineer for that record, Jose Cruz, and he plays in a band called Twinsies. Definitely check them out, they're awesome. Yeah, and also the bass player from Twinsies as well. So we were all pretty much around each other very often, working out of the same studio. They were working on their project, I was working on my project, and it was a collaborative effort in the sense where we just started, I just wanted to dedicate a weekend to writing, and so we totally did, and we hashed out, I believe it was Ginger Pond, Stay Away, and all right, yeah.
It's not bad for, and that was within that weekend.
That was within that weekend.
That was within that weekend, within that plan.
Yeah.
That's a lot to get out.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And I definitely wanted to go for the Chicano soul vibe. I definitely wanted to go for just kind of that Eastside sound. I really wanted to go there because it just felt like something that I needed to explore further. It's definitely a huge part of my roots, and so that was just a no-brainer. And then we were working on things for a while, mixing and adjustments and stuff like that, and throughout the following year, I was still kind of chipping away at it, shooting the cover, things like that, planning a rollout. We had nothing but time at the time, and so just making sure everything was really, really good. We planned the recording session for it, and we ended up tracking the songs live to tape.
Nice.
It was about eight of us in the studio over a weekend doing that as well, and it was really powerful. Technically, we weren't supposed to be doing that in the pandemic, but I'm really happy that no one got sick, and we were wearing, everybody was masked up. We took as many protocols as we could, and luckily everything turned out fine. But in the process of all of that, this feeling, which is the last song on the record, this feeling I had written maybe 2 years prior to that, to the pandemic even. And I really wanted to use that song and put it on this record and have it last, just to kind of show my audience, hey, yeah, this is very much a Chicano soul-dies vibe.
Yeah.
A little bit of rock, a little bit of The Doors meets Santana vibes.
You really
It's
cover
a lot of genre bending.
No, it is. But see, that's also, because you know what? Because you say it right there, really quick. You say on this feeling, because you do put in a lot of that Doors vibe, which again, I feel is indicative, because we can look at our old uncles or old grandparents, and East LA loved the Doors, man. LA in general loved the Doors, but anyone that was on this side of town loved the Doors. Like, we, for whatever reason, just went like that to the Doors. Like, we just went to it. And then you that's all you ever gonna hear after those folks ahead of us, our uncles and our parents. But yeah, it's still stuck, and you could hear it a lot in that one. And that was like what I like about that one, because that is like a totally good way to end that album. And like you said, it's a full force. It's a full force on that one.
Thank you. Yeah,
on the
Ginger
sound.
Pond is my Doors song.
Yeah.
This feeling, I wanted to wrap it up with that song because that's where I go very Badu.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of dad rock vibes, which not many people know that I'm a huge dad rock fan. If you're like a homie, you definitely know that. Because that's all I'm listening to, honestly. Like Steely Dan, Wings, like, oh my god, that's my shit.
Are you throwing in some Bostons in there?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, just so much dad rock. And so I didn't realize that you could hear that in that song until a few friends of mine pointed it out. But all I really felt in that song was a lot of Badu influences, and I was using like a iPad app version of an MPC that programs like the beat and stuff, and then we re-enhanced it and brought the sounds to life for that song, and then tracked it, with actual synths and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I don't know why was tracked a week before the borders closed, when the pandemic started, essentially. So if I would have waited maybe the weekend after, which I was contemplating doing at the time, because I was like my 9 to 5 and the reason why the borders come into play is because my dad, he's lived in Rosarito since I was since I was a kid, like my whole life, and so he's also a musician, and I really wanted to do something musically with him. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, which is why I have a really eclectic, wide array of music that I know and love.
Yeah, because it's indicative in what you put out. You are definitely mixed music genre. You definitely, in terms, you could hear it, not just outside of the music play, but you could hear it just outside of the person that you are, that you're not, or you've never really kept yourself tethered to one genre, like a lot of us tend to do.
Right. Oh man, even if I tried, I really can't.
You can't.
It just kind of.
You can't. It's
just
impossible.
What comes out, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's impossible. I'm the same way. Like, I'm the same way. My whole life, mixed music genre, because for me it's ridiculous to tether yourself to like one genre of music, because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as one genre, because you can talk about rock, but rock is still tied to the blues, which is still tied to folk, which is still tied to this and that. So you can't really escape it. All you have to do is you have to make sure you know where those sounds are coming from.
Yeah.
Which is what I like about Bittersweet, because you maintain this tradition, but you're also giving it through the eyes of a Chicana, and the eyes of a Chicana in 2021. That's a different Chicana than a Chicana in 67.
Yeah, 1000%.
Okay, I didn't say it yet. It's a generational album. It's a bridging the gap album. That's, I think.
I love that.
That's what. And at this point is where we're gonna have to wrap it up, because we are gonna have an encore show from one of our various disc jockeys and hosts here. This is kind of your blind bag. So I don't even know who you're going to get. So keep it here at KQBH 101.5 FM. But right now you guys are tuned into Studio B. Studio B is a program courtesy of Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory. I am sitting here with local independent recording artist Danie, and we pretty much are going to have to say goodbye in a moment, Danie. But I do want to end at least in one more song, so everyone can get to hear you before they get ready to go on with their night. Where can we find you? What's the best social medias, all that fun stuff to find you? What's the best way to get hip?
Yeah, I'm on all the streaming platforms as Danie. That's spelled Danie. And my most recent EP is titled Bittersweet. So if for any reason you can't find me just under my name, feel free to type in Danie Bittersweet. It should pop right up. YouTube is a great way to find a lot of my recent projects.
Let's remind them. Take Me Home is the current single.
Very G-funk.
Yes.
Very fat. Very with a PH.
Yes.
Very 90s vibes. West Coast hip hop sound. Yeah, and I have a show coming up. I want to mention that as well.
Yes, please.
Next weekend, a week from today, on September 20th at the Echo in Echo Park. I'm on at 8 p.m. It's going to be a cute little duo set. And then the following month, I also have a show on October 18th. I'm going to be on, I believe, at 5 p.m. And it's going to be an outdoor festival called Música y Poesía. And it's going to be on Figueroa and Highland Park between Avenue 54 and Avenue 58.
All right, everybody. We're going to say goodbye right now. We're going to end it with a little bit of this feeling. This is KQBH 101.5 FM. We are broadcasting live off of Brooklyn Avenue in the beautiful city of Boyle Heights, California. I'm just the geek from East LA. This is your disc jockey here, Patrick J. Martinez.